Louis, what did just happen at Miss Universe India 2024? That's the one question that I've been receiving non-stop for the past 3 days, and today I'm here to set the record straight. Today's topic is one of the biggest events in the pageant world, which is of course the celebration of Miss Universe India 2024. India being one of the biggest pageant countries in the world and with one of the most committed and invested fan base, you know that everybody and their grandmother were paying attention to the coronation night of Miss Universe India. Especially since this is their first edition being a standalone pageant, as historically Miss Universe India has been paired with Miss Diva. Well, that's no longer the case, and today I'm gonna share with you guys my thoughts about everything that went down all throughout the coronation night. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you find value and entertainment in it. If you do, you know what to do already. Drop a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And without further ado, let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. Alright my babies, let's talk about Miss Universe India. I'm gonna have this video split into segments. Some of it I'm just gonna share my opinions. For the second part, I'm actually gonna react to some parts of the show. But initially, I just wanna talk about some of the technicalities of the show. I've seen a lot of comments of people complaining about the production level for this year. I personally think that the production was actually very okay and it looked pretty glossy considering that this is the first edition of the pageant. Pageant fans know that delivering a quality show requires a lot of money, time and effort, sponsors, and usually for a first year we cannot have unrealistic expectations. I think that the stage looked great, the graphics were amazing, the girls were pretty well lit, and overall I found it to be an entertaining show. Now, where they lost me a little bit was with the time of the show. It lasted for 5 hours, 18 minutes, and 38 seconds to be more precise. That's way too long for a pageant. For any pageant. I do understand that these commercial breaks are necessary to set up some technical aspects of the show, also for the girls to go change in between segments of the show, but it is also undeniable that there were ways to have these breaks and pauses without necessarily stretching it too much. It takes away from the experience for the viewers. Now, on the bright side, I'm going to say that I am very, very happy that this year we finally got to experience a live edition of Miss Universe India, because you remember back then with Miss Diva, they had a contract with TV, and because of that reason, the show had to be pre-recorded. As a result of that, we used to get the Miss Diva show sometimes a month or two after it actually happened. At least this time around, we got a live experience, and hopefully for upcoming editions, they will improve those little things that needed to be addressed. Now, I want to talk about the hosting for a moment because I appreciate the fact that they went out of their way to bring international hosts, that they really wanted to diversify the experience. Was the hosting the best? No. There needed to be more work, more practice. I understand myself firsthand, because I just hosted this year Miss Universe Nepal, that sometimes there's a lot of last minute changes and you have to be able to adapt on the spot. My hosting is not flawless. Sometimes I get nervous, sometimes I stutter, sometimes, it happens. I understand, but I feel like for the most part, the hosts were lacking a certain chemistry that to me is just necessary in order to make it work and seem effortless. When it comes to the opening number and introduction, I was actually pleased overall with the experience. I thought that the girls looked incredible in their little green cocktail dresses, and you can tell that the efforts overall with the lights, the decoration on stage, as well as the graphics was designed to make them shine with this particular look. When it comes to the choreography, I'm going to admit this was one of the weak spots of the show, because you can clearly separate those who were ready and prepared for the choreography and those who were trying to play catch up and were not super comfortable dancing on stage. If I'm being quite honest, this is something that is becoming more and more common nowadays in pageantry, especially considering that pageants are becoming more and more inclusive. When you welcome everyone, you are also welcoming people within the spectrum of skills in dancing and in different areas, So it is to be expected to see some girls that are not doing so great. I do think that it takes away from the experience a little bit for the viewer, because we cannot really just ignore the ones who are struggling over there. But for the most part, it was a decent group effort. Moving on to the swimsuit round, I will kind of continue with the same point that I was using before. The swimsuit round requires technical skills, requires preparation, and this is a time where you can set apart basically those who have been really preparing for the competition and those who kind of joined because this was kind of a dream of theirs, or they wanted to try the experience, or they wanted to just call themselves a beauty queen for some reason. There were clearly moments where I was watching the show and I thought to myself, ooh, this girl needed to wait another 2 years or needed to practice for another year or two in order to compete at Miss Universe India. And there were moments where I would just look at them on stage and I'd be like, yes, this makes absolute sense. She's in the right place at the right time and she's giving us exactly what I was expecting. I will not go so much in details into each one of them, but I will tell you that for the most part, I do agree with the initial top 20 that was made right after the swimsuit round. So I feel like at least on that level, the organization was pretty good at selecting those who were standing out from the crowd. I will also point out the theme for the swimsuit round with the graphics. I didn't really get the circus theme. Maybe is it because they're trying to be playful with the swimsuit? I'm not sure, but that kind of threw me off a little bit. It was giving the circus starring Britney Spears type of vibes. But still, quality graphics nonetheless. We have to address that segment with Urvashi Rutella. That honestly, mixed feelings about it. The evening gown round, I know so many of you have been waiting for this, so here we go. Just disclosing, I am turning down the volume because the music is copyrighted, and at the same time, I am playing this at speed 1.5 because it's a little bit too lengthy, otherwise the reaction gets boring. Here we go with contestant number 5, looking absolutely beautiful in golden. I thought this was a very decent look. I don't know if it's a final look though, but she definitely looks very pretty wearing it, right? Contestant number 6 came out with this kind of like Lude Illusion. Is kind of a beige, very light beige. But when you look at it with the reflections of the light, I don't know if it's the stones just reflecting on the projectors or even the backdrop behind her. But sometimes there is a certain shade of lavender and blue that I think makes her look really, really nicely. Contestant number 7. Wow, she definitely came out to give us a performance. I love the gown, she looks incredible, and I love the train that she is carrying as a butterfly, as wings. She's definitely not scared of performing, although you can see that there are some technical difficulties here and there, but that's okay. Overall, I really enjoyed it. Contestant 10 coming out with this look that, in my opinion, is kind of reminiscent of Shani's look that she had at Miss Universe. Not the same design at all, but very reminiscent. There's a little bit of an inspiration there. To be quite honest, partially I don't get it because I think it covers too much. Most of the attention goes to the shoulders and the cape. And to be honest, I don't think it's a great idea to do something that was done already by the immediate winner of Miss Universe. Contestant 14 coming out again in golden. Very nicely fitted dress. Very tasteful, very tactful. I don't have any major complaints here. I do think that up until this point, the performance is a little bit bland, is a little bit plain, but undeniably she looks beautiful. Contestant 16, the moment you've been all waiting for. Okay, I'm gonna say I like this gown. I like it much better than the preliminary gown that she was wearing. Is it a standout? No. It's still a pretty simple gown, especially for finals, especially in India. Like, come on, this is the major leagues. I think that this girl did so much better when she competed at Miss USA back in the day. I don't know what happened here. She had all of this momentum going on and all of this hype, and suddenly she came to the competition and it was just like, all right. Daisy, fan favorite as well. Oh. Don't get me wrong, this is a pretty dress. Definitely, most definitely not a finals dress. And in my opinion, it's a big letdown compared to her preliminary gown, where she had that very bold black look with all of the accessories, and it was like black and silver, and she had the headpiece and everything. I don't know what was going on here. If I was her, I would have just worn the black dress once again for finals. That would have been such a better option. Contestant 27. This is borderline too simple for me. The stones in this dress are focusing really on just covering what needs to be covered, because otherwise they will get a lawsuit or in trouble with YouTube. But everything else is like, there's only a couple of stones. There's barely any effort put into the rest of the dress. Contestant 28. It's a decent gown. with a color that on stage it kind of looks sometimes golden, sometimes it looks like a yellowish green. It reminds me of a pineapple in a good way. I don't mean that as shade, but the walk is a little bit forced in my opinion. Contestant 32. Simple dress, pretty, she does look good, simple performance. Is this enough to carry her to the last round? I'm not sure. She looks beautiful, granted, but at this point you are competing against 20 other girls to earn your spot. This is not the time to just be pretty. Contestant 33, beautiful in red. This is much better in my opinion. I think she's adding flavor to the performance clearly with some of the turns, facial expressions. She's connecting with the audience. Look how she is making sure she has a moment with everyone as she walks. Again, pose, 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 smile, and go. The gown looks beautiful. It's fine for a finals gown. 34. Such a pretty girl. I really like this girl. And I'm not mad at this look. Notice how it's a simple pageant gown, silver gown, but there's a little bit of fringe to add movement. There's some effort put on the shoulders. There are elements hanging from the shoulders as well. So the gown is beautiful. I think that there were a couple of missteps with the technical side of it on the runway. All right, our winner, contestant number 36. Again, we have a kind of Shanice inspired look. This is like if Shanice and Amanda Dudamel had a love child, it will be this gown. Is she carrying it well? Hell yeah. She looks beautiful. She looks confident. I feel like her performance is solid. And you can see that she's playing with it. Again, I would have preferred overall if she just went with a different design. I don't like to see the immediate design of the current Miss Universe being repeated on stage. 37, 2 shades of orange. Quite frankly, I'm not so crazy about orange gowns, but it's okay. It's a decent gown with an average performance. 39. Do you notice like a lot of these type of gowns, I know that the gowns were provided by the same designer, but I do see some of these elements coming back and back again. I wonder to what extent the girls had a say in what they can wear on stage. This one is pretty. It's not as overpowering as the other one who had like the whole shoulders and they had a cape and everything covered. At least this is like a mini cape. 41. Beautiful dress. It could be fitted better in my opinion, and we clearly need more work on the walk, facial expressions. She is struggling to walk here with these heels, so clearly this is one of those examples of girls that could benefit from like an extra year or 2 of preparation before they actually join the competition. Not trying to be mean, not at all, guys. This is all constructive. Wow, contestant 42. That face, baby, and those eyes. Okay, my only concern here with this gown is that it contrasts 2 different things. The core of it makes her look so soft and so delicate, quite revealing actually, but then there's nothing at all covering the arms, and she is more on the athletic side. So I have this very strong duality of soft and then strong. I don't know how I feel about it. Number 47. Okay, my girl has been taking the pageant walk classes for sure. I think she looks pretty in this dress. Look to the sides of it when she walks. It could be better fitted. I think that will just elevate it a little bit more. We have another Amanda inspired type of cape. I like the contrast actually between the 2 pinks and the silver elements on the dress. Little pieces of fringe or like beads. I don't know what they put on the dress, but it's nice. And she's a very good performer. She's giving us the drama. Give us the drama, mama. She's good, she's good. 51. Okay. No major complaints, no major compliments here. It's just fine. I think she's a little bit too much in her head. You can see her looking down when she's walking, trying not to trip, trying not to mess up anything. And that takes away from the performance. All right, everyone, so I'll just let the police and the sirens go away. I live in the ghetto, but we're just about to get into the Q&A round. The top 10 gets to answer, and then eventually they will select the top 5. This is my first impression to the questions and answers and everything that went down. Let's get into it and see how the girls handled it.
How do you believe the Miss Universe platform can be used to raise awareness about pressing environmental issues in India?
So it's not the responsibility of our nation, but it's the responsibility of the whole world to take care of the environment. And our platform is the most prestigious platform. So environmental crisis going on around in the world needs to be taken care of. And I think through the platform um, we should spread the message that we need to take care of our climate crisis and environmental crisis as well. Thank you.
No, 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 no. I think she was nervous. I think she just let that, all of those things in her head, like the overthinking, get the best of her. It's actually a pretty simple question. Like, how can we use the platform of Miss Universe India to address the environmental issues in the country? All that you need to provide is an example, and then you defend it as you want. It doesn't matter. Just give us an example of how, in a concrete way, you will address those issues within the country through the Miss Universe India platform. Unfortunately, this was not her night.
India has a rich cultural heritage. How can we preserve and promote it in the face of globalization?
I believe that India is a very civilized and diverse country, and its diversity around the globe is and the culture about India is what we are known for. But as we see that India is cultured, but also we are stepping into a new generation. So it is important to carry our culture alongside and also having the essence of modernized culture. And this is what I think about it. Thank you so much.
Girl, what? What is going on this year? I mean, Miss Universe India, India overall as a country is known for the quality of speakers. The girls are just amazing at delivering, just fighting during the Q&A round. And right now, this is not living up to the expectation. Again, we just need an example of how would you promote the Indian heritage with all of these things going on in the world, that now it's easier to reach other people, to promote your message, and how would you promote it, basically? That's what they're saying. She tried her best to answer, but unfortunately, it's almost as if she was answering a completely different question.
What is your personal definition of beauty, and how do you believe it differs from the societal standards?
Thank you so much for your question, sir. I think this is a really incredible question, and I want to just describe a quote to answer it. One day, may we not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. This is a quote. Thank you. This is a quote by Martin Luther King Jr., and it's one that I heard a lot growing up. But when I was younger, something that I struggled with was colorism. I was not considered beautiful due to my dusky skin or savly skin. Every time I would meet extended family, friends, I would be told, "Arey, color thoda down hai." And initially it made me feel really unconfident about myself. But as I've grown, I've realized that beauty is so much more than skin deep. Beauty is about your character. It is about your resilience. It is about your growth. And when I realized these things, I saw the beauty within me, and I am so grateful to be standing here in front of all of you today with all these amazing contestants with me on stage and all the girls that have worked so hard behind me. So thank you so much for this honor. Thank you for helping me see how beautiful I am as a result of being here. Thank you.
And you heard from candidate.
Girl! Okay, admittedly, so far, I think she had the best answer of the night. So far, she's the third one to be called, right? Too long, girl. We need to edit this answer. She came out with a quote. She came out with an anecdote. She came out with an experience. All of that just to answer the question. I wonder if there is even a time limit here, because it's just too much information. We have to edit to make it accessible to everyone, to the person, to the average people watching from home, audience, watching online. It doesn't matter. We have to make it accessible for everyone. When we stretch it so much, it just becomes a little bit, So, I mean, great. She added her personality. She made it so, like, you can feel like it's a personal story. But the Q&A round is not the time to come up with a personal story. You have to answer that question and make sure that you do it in a way that is impactful. To me, there was so much information around this answer that it just lost its impact.
How would you approach the challenge of reducing plastic waste in India?
Thank you so much for your question, sir. I believe that we live in a generation where we are striving for technological advancement so much, we lag behind what has been taught. It's very natural for kids to be taught that we have to run against marks. We have been learning about environmental change for the longest time, and yet we are still facing the crisis. Why? Because the kids are taught that you have to score marks and not be practical about it. So I think our first approach is held more conversation about it, approach our kids in a different way, that we have to act on it more than just learn in our books. And that is the first step on how we tackle environmental crisis and plastic wastage. Thank you so much.
Ooh. All right, let's admit it. Daisy came and she said, you know what, at least I'm gonna have the best answer of the night. And I think that so far, she just took that spot from the previous contestant. I know a lot of people are feeling, they have mixed emotions about the outcome of this whole thing, where she should have placed, where she should have been. I think that if she wasn't able to move forward in the competition, it's simply because of the gown. Clearly, the answer was great, but I wonder how the scoring of the gown brought her down compared to everyone else. I think this is one of the weakest looks on the runway tonight. Unfortunately,
If you were to win Miss Universe India, what would be your advocacy project and how would you implement it? What are your career aspirations and how do you envision Miss Universe India helping you achieve them?
before she gets into it, I just want to say this is a little bit of an unfair question because there's like 3 questions in one. I just want to point that out.
As a college student, I worked on a documentary film over the atrocities faced by the transgender people. And as soon as I entered their premises, looking at the lack of basic sanitation and food facilities disheartened me. So if given a chance to do an advocacy, I would really want to make sure that they are able to stand on their own 2 feet so that they can earn their own bread and butter. Maybe by opening a small cafe where I'll employ them so that they don't have to beg. Because I really believe that इज्जत का एक निवाला किसी भी भीख के महाभोग को मार देता है.
Alright, I'm gonna say, was it spot on? Not really, but I'm also not mad at her because she was given like 3 questions. At least she talked about something that she has done, a film. She talked about what she learned from it and how she found her advocacy, transgender rights and advocating for them, and then what she will do to help kind of resolve that issue, opening a coffee to give them some dignity and get them back on their feet. I'm actually not mad at this. I do think that Daisy still holds the spot for the strongest delegate so far in the Q&A round.
How would you inspire young women in India to embrace their unique beauty and pursue their dreams?
As someone who has
She was taking a moment to think
returned
about that one.
pageantry, and even after achieving somewhat a lot in the commercial field and working in television commercials, I didn't let my dream die. And I kept pursuing pageantry, and here I am, after so many tries, in the top 10, speaking my heart. And as a professional badminton world champion's daughter who had won the world championship last year, in his almost late 50s, I would say that you can achieve your dreams whenever. So don't stop chasing them. Believe in them and take risks. Because if you don't throw the dice, you'll never get a 6.
Okay, she has undeniably a very strong message, and obviously she has some experience in life. She's an accomplished woman. She has done a lot. She talked about her career, being a model, being successful, and a bunch of different things. The answer did get diluted a little bit because she used so many examples. I think that sometimes it's just as easy as just answer the question, justify it with one or two arguments, and then let's keep it moving. Again, I have a similar problem here as one of the previous contestants. There is just so much going on that we lose the impact.
What is your stance on climate change? And what steps would you take to promote sustainable practices in India?
We're getting a lot of like environmental questions. This is almost like Miss Earth, I promise.
I would like to start this question with a quote that says, "When the last fish is killed and the last tree cut, that is when man would realize that we cannot eat money." I believe in the face of industrialization, we have lost so many forests to deforestation, and we're losing out on our environment. It is very, very important to realize that no rights matter unless and until we're not alive. Humans are required for human rights. Nature is required to keep us alive. And I would like to promote climate justice through this platform by raising my voice about the things that actually matter and by doing my part in contributing to making a change when it comes to climate. I would go out and I would make sure that I use this platform to clean our environment and to do my part and to spread awareness so that people could do theirs, because all of us together can really make it happen. Thank you.
I'm very happy with the answer. I think that one of the best so far. Still she has not topped Daisy just yet, but she is up there with Daisy. My only advice is, again, girls, let's just edit a little bit. I don't think there is even a time limit here because I haven't heard it just yet. And the girls are talking a lot. Remember what I said, girls in India are known for their comm skills and just being excellent speakers. That doesn't mean that there should be unlimited time, because then you get too comfortable and you get spread out and the idea gets diluted and suddenly you lose impact. She didn't get to the point where she lost me. I'm still up there with her. I like what she said. I like how she did it, but we were like borderline. We're just about to cross that line. So let's just be careful on that.
If you could have dinner with any historical figure tonight, who would it be and why?
Interesting.
I'll have to give it a thought because there are so many people that inspire me. But I think Ahilya Bai Holkar, who was my national costume inspiration, would definitely have to be one. My advocacy is about skilling up individuals, youngsters who have so many skills, yet they don't have the power of communication, which is why they miss out on the opportunity of success in what they truly love. That is where Ahilya Bai Holkar was powerful enough 300 years ago and powered through, brought women up at a time when feminism wasn't even a thing, and she made it happen for her and the women around her. So I would love to choose Ahilya Bai Holkar. Thank you.
Okay, I am so happy right now, and I'm gonna be honest with you for a moment. If you were looking at my facial expression, I was worried because she went right into answering the question, which is excellent. No complaints on that level. But then she radically changed, like she answered Amelia and then she went to my advocacy, and I was like, oh no. Is it gonna be one of those cases where the girl wants to make the answer no matter what about the advocacy and there is no link between the advocacy and the answer to the question? But did you see that third part of the answer? So she started by answering the question, she talked about the advocacy, and then she linked it to Amelia. And that's when Amelia comes in because, you know, she empowered and da-da-da-da-da. And that was just perfect. Honestly, she looks great. She answered very, very nicely. In my opinion, dare I say the best answer of the night? I'm not saying it because she's the winner. I'm saying it because I think so.
What challenges do women in India face today, and what steps can be taken to empower them?
I think the challenges that we are facing most is fear. And it's been escalating since the past few months over the amounting number of assault and rape cases that are being reported. And it breaks my heart to think of the many others that have gone silenced. And I believe that if I can take this platform and encourage women to speak up, to stand for justice, and to be true and strong to themselves, I believe we could truly bring justice and make a better and safer world for the women in India. Thank you.
Okay, two things. I like her answer. I think she did answer the question and it was quite effective. I also think she's the perfect example of how, and why delivery is so important. The way that you present the message and the pace of the answer can also influence how people receive it. I think that she was answering in a very natural way, but there were so many pauses, so many breaks in between elements of the answer that it almost felt like she wasn't so sure where she was going with it, or she was trying to come up with something on the spot just to finish it, to just like add it to the answer and then come up with something and add it. So sometimes I prefer if the girls just take like 5 seconds before they start answering, they get their ideas together, they map where they want to go with it, and then they just, move into it. So that's my only feedback. But overall, the answer was pretty strong.
What are your career aspirations and how do you envision Miss Universe India helping you achieve them?
I belong to the health industry. I have studied dietetics and I have spent a lot of time in the hospital with patients, literally fighting every single day for their life. And that is what has made me choose my advocacy, which is to promote health, hygiene and nutrition amongst the youth, especially children, because I believe that basic health care should be a necessity. It's not a luxury, and everyone deserves to have the basic health care in their life. So if I happen to win Miss Universe India tonight, I would use my voice to raise as much awareness as I can to make this world a better place with the health education. Thank you so much.
Very nice, very nice. Not the standout of the night, but I will say easily top 5 strongest answers of the night, in my opinion. She looks lovely, other than my previous comment about fitting the gown a little bit more. But, I mean, she looks great. Hairstyle is nice, makeup is nice, and the answer was very consistent. So, thumbs up from me. Alright, boys and girls, that brings me to the final moment of the show, which is, of course, the crowning moment. I want to express my overall feeling about this entire thing. In terms of the runner-ups, I think that according to the performance during finals, combined with the last part of the show with the Q&A round, I can see how these 4 women were amongst the strongest. I know that a lot of people was pretty upset about not seeing Daisy make the top 5. If I was to give my own take on it, I think that her performance during prelims was stronger, much better than during finals, which would kind of justify her not advancing further in the top 5. I do think, though, Daisy has the potential, has that star quality to be in the top 5. But I do agree that those who actually made the final cut kind of outperformed her during that particular round. The only moment during finals that I thought that she kind of stood out the most was during the Q&A round. And I will use that opportunity to link it to my last point, and is what happened at Miss Universe India 2024, the question that we started this video with. And simply put, what happened is that Rhea won fair and square. I mean, you can go back to my preliminary video where I analyzed the entire performance of the ladies and I picked out my standouts. She was amongst those girls that really stood out during prelims, and I feel like she carried the same energy during the competition for finals. She was a standout in swimsuit, she was a standout in evening gown, gave an excellent performance, and undeniably, I still stand on business. I still defend my point that she had the best delivery during the Q&A portion. Simple, straight to the point, she was respectful of the time, and she gave an answer that was consistent and accessible to everyone. So, Indian fans, whether you are on board or not, please, I'm telling you, rejoice, because you have a beautiful delegate this year. I think that she will do great at Miss Universe, and I can see that she has a lot of charm, commitment, a lot of things to offer. So I'm really excited to support her all throughout her journey and see where the universe will take her. Alright, that's a wrap for me, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you find some entertainment in it. If you did, go ahead and drop a like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and stay tuned because there's a lot more content coming right up. Love you guys. See you on the next one.